Alright, today we take out the drive shaft and replace some U-joints. So we're going to start by removing 4 of these 9/16 bolts here. Oh yeah. Alright you guys, this is the root of my problem right here. This is just absolutely ridiculous. Look at how much play there is in this U-joint. That should not be like that at all. That is just worn right out. Horrible. Worst U-joint I've seen yet. That's just unsafe. So this U-joint's getting replaced today. Alright, so check out these needle bearings in here. Just absolutely dry. And then we're going to pull this out of the back of the transfer case there. See if I can do this one-handed. There we go. Alright, we got a grip pan there too. Alright, so we got it back in the shop here. This is just absolutely dry in here. So I think what had happened here, and it's kind of just a rookie move, but if you can see here, this grease nipple, it hasn't been greased in forever. It's so rusted. I don't know if it's ever been greased at all. You can see that there's actually marks made into this here, and that should be totally smooth. So that just won't do. And what happened is somebody put the grease nipple facing that way instead of facing this way. So when this thing's got that little cap on there that goes to the diff, I have no idea what it's called, but when it's got the other half of this on here, the grease nipple points that way, you just can't reach it, or at least I couldn't reach it on my truck. So this thing probably never got greased. And look at all the play in there. Sorry about the lighting here, lots of shadows in my shed, but this just isn't good. And I was driving it like that. I drove it home from the nice guy that I bought it off of, and then I drove it around town a couple times to buy parts and stuff like that. And I could feel a big clunk in the rear end when I took my foot off the gas, and I figured that's what it was. And my neighbor actually said he could hear something, but when I first crawled under the truck, I wasn't feeling any play in it whatsoever until I must have kicked something loose, and now I can just feel it moving around by hand like that. Just crazy. So I'm going to replace this one, and just because I have it apart, I'm just going to replace this here too. I couldn't feel any play in this at all, and it feels relatively smooth, so it might actually be alright still. I'm not sure if I'll replace that or not. We'll see how far I get. Alright, it's okay if you break these snap rings here. You get new ones in the new kit. Okay, so rarely you get lucky and you can just bang these out with the hammer. Most of the time they're stuck and you have to use a torch. I don't have a torch, but what I do have, what I forgot I had, was a ball joint press and an impact gun. So what I did, it took a lot of penetrating oil and a lot of whacking with a hammer, but I've got my ball joint press set up here, and I'm just about ready to have it pushed all the way through now. I'm sorry for the light, you won't be able to see down in there. So I'm going to hook this up here and make some noise. See if we can knock this one out when I put the impact gun on forward. Okay, so now I'll back this off. Filming one-handed, I'll back this off and then pop it out and push it through the other side. Okay, so let's try to see if I can get this cap off. There we go. And there are literally there's not one needle bearing left in there. It's gone. Just completely disintegrated into dust. And now, I can just peen this out of here. Oh, my bad. This has got to be, it's got to go back in that hole too. Okay, so now I just have to smack this down and it's going to go through the bottom just like the other side went up through the top. Bearing cap. Let's see what's in there. Again, there's just nothing in there. Wow. Toast. That's what's left of that rubber. And then we'll just pull this on out of here. Okay, so that's one of the U-joints just gone. Pretty worn out. Time to put a new one in there. So this is the difference between the brand new one, so smooth, and then you can see where my hand is here. You can see the grooves that have been cut into that, and the needle bearings were just absolutely destroyed. And this is the part number here for the 83 Chevy, or sorry, this one's a GMC half-ton, but it's the same thing. So that's the part number for it, and here's what the new needle bearings look like. They should go all the way around there. And here's what these ones look like. Just destroyed, or completely missing. So this is why it's really important to grease your U-joints. And then of course you wind up ruining these, and I just wouldn't reuse those at all. They come with brand new ones too in the kit. So we'll go ahead and start installing. Like I mentioned before, I want to have the grease nipple where I can actually reach it instead of having it pointing the way that it was before, and that's probably why this failed before I bought the truck anyways. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in now. We want to be really careful that we don't drop the other ends of these caps. So let's get it resting in there for now, and then we'll get a cap and line it up. This is going to be a little bit too tricky for me, but I'm going to put this in this way here. A little bit too tricky to film with one hand. Yeah, that fits in really nicely. There's no place, so let's just flush this in there. That way we can get the snap ring in. We're just going to be extremely gentle tapping this into place now. Okay, so I can probably put in the bottom one. So I'll pull this back here. I'll have enough room to put in that first snap ring. There we go. So now that I've got that in, I'll just show you so you can see it. We'll just give it a little tap just to make sure it's seated. Okay, that's seated in there, that's not going anywhere. Just spin it around. And then we'll just drive this one home. And I know some of you guys are going to say that you can't do that. Well, I had a mechanic one time, a senior mechanic, when I worked at Ford, that did that on an F-150 that I had, and it worked just fine. So as long as it's lined up, it'll be fine. And he worked there for 30-something years. This will just take some troubleshooting back and forth just to make sure it's all lined up. You really don't want to damage the rubber on here, otherwise the grease comes out and water gets in and we have the same problem. Okay, so I've just got my needle nose pliers here, just pinching this up, and I'll just put it in there. There we go, and then I'll just take my little pry bar here and just give it a tap all the way around just to see. So I got it retaped. The safety clips are in on both sides. Now I just have to install that grease nipple. So for me it's a 5/16. So I'm just going to do that, and then I'll put some grease in it just to make it easier for me. Okay, so here's where it helps to make sure that you did mark your back of your transfer case and the end of your drive shaft there. And I also did on this side down here, made a few marks, probably too many marks because I haven't done this in probably, I don't know, 3-4 years. So now I'm just in the process of tightening up these little bolts here. We'll get these all in on both sides, tighten them up, and then we'll go take her for a test ride and see how she does.